Hello everybody, my name is thetroublmaker. These are games from the Wargame Cup 2012 tournament put together by Eugen Systems, and we're in round 4. So first off we have Yuejin. He's playing NATO today. And we also have Rattusxrattus, who is also playing NATO. So NATO versus NATO. It's become more and more common of a matchup. And let's go ahead and see what these guys have planned for this. By the positioning of these vehicles here, it looks like Eugen's actually going to stick around at Alpha. And he's a few carrier vehicles here. Might try and flank around the center here. Hard to say. Some of the positioning also seems to indicate that he might go for Delta Charlie, which is another functional choice. But no, he has most of the vehicles piled along the northern flank, so no doubt going for Golf and Alpha. From Rattusxrattus, we're seeing a lot of these infantry fighting AMX vehicles, lots of Blackhawks. These are usually used for sniping commands. They work fairly well, mostly because the unit inside is hard to spot. He has 2 commands, and it looks like one command will in fact stay at Bravo, and the other command, I'm not sure where it's going. It looks like it's heading towards either India or Juliet, so that will be interesting to see. But both players going for a ton of infantry. This, of course, is a map that favors tank play quite well, and you can make tank play work very well on it. Lots of recons. Of course, a lot of players in this tournament have been risking not getting recons, so it's kind of refreshing to see somebody get them. And here we go. We can see immediately a push into the center by Yuejin, who's using these Blackhawks to actually get a quicker foothold in the front, and that's inside what Rattusxrattus will be doing with his Blackhawk as well. But he has another 2 Blackhawks coming around the sides. It'll be interesting to see what they are going to do, and I'll have to keep an eye on that. So we're going to have a meeting of Blackhawks. Blackhawks spotted, and it looks like one Blackhawk will go down. If he can land in time, he might be able to make this work, but no, too many vehicles are coming in with recon. And the Delta Force does get deployed, but unfortunately the Delta Force will get wiped out by a lot of vehicles. This is starting off to be a loss for Rattusxrattus, as just too much is rolling in. The Delta Force is going to get creamed by rockets and fire, and there's still some Blackhawks on the map, of course, but the first one is gone. The Gazelle coming in to try and snipe the Delta Force. There's a lot of vehicles here. This is kind of a risky play, and he's pulling back, trying to get better angle. More infantry roll in. Of course, Eugen has been in position longer and faster. He needs to get some Martyr or some, there you go, some Flak Panzers up front to deal with these. And look, we have artillery fire already. What kind of artillery are we looking at here? And in fact, he has gone for India, and he has gone for Bravo. So he's going for some pretty high point safe places, and that's exactly what these are. We have infantry versus infantry, fairly common. Delta Force, gonna chop these squads apart. Squad custom grenade, very good against infantry. The only downside is that one Delta Force is not worth 2 shots. He's got support from the side. Looks like a recon got picked off by a Yager here. 2 AMXs are continuing to push forward. Eugen winning most of these battles. EMXs take place in these woods here, and are now covered. And looks like we have some Martyr VTSIs coming in. Martyr VTSIs, of course, are going to help deal with these waysales. A weakness in the play of Eugen, but they doesn't have anti-tank weapons to deal with vehicles. And so Martyr VTSIs taking 1 loss. Yager squad looks like it's going to be totally destroyed, as this mortar carrier is, are just decimating this area. So both players going for something roughly the same. Looks like Eugen pulled it off just a little bit better. And we're still yet to see what these Delta Forces were. Looks like he's going to use 1 in this town here to recon this area. And we have a Yager over here spotting for this neck of the woods. And we have, looks like just artillery fire and just single shots there. It looks like we'll get cleaned up. And actually, Eugen has secured the center location of the map. So, yeah, he will be able to take Foxtrot. I don't know where his other command armor is, or even if he has a second command armor, it's possible he didn't get one, which would be awkward. This is generally a map that favors 2 command armors, so not getting one would be auspiciously bad. So although Rattusxrattus is behind, it gives him a slight window of opportunity because he will have double the points, meaning he'll have double the units, and he'll be able to make some crushing victories in the future. However, there are 4 mortar carriers here, and there is an FOB to support it, and there's tons of infantry surrounded to protect this FOB, so there's no real FOB snipes going to be happening today. These mortars will continue to be pounding on locations, and the more units that show up on the map, the more units the mortars will be able to get. Speaking of chasseurs that are going to die, that one most definitely will die. The mortar VTSI charging up. Looks like it's going to try and fire a location, revealing its location. And what's it going to actually attack? Oh, it looks like it's actually going for the Spartan that's coming across to run into the chasseurs and die. I don't understand why he doesn't split these up even further. He has some groups of clumps of 2. He could actually split them into groups of 1 and just have them all firing on various locations. But maybe there's something very specific to this grouping of 2. So, in order for Yuejin to really stay in this, he's going to have to bank up and get a command armor. And it looks like we missed a small little skirmish here. A turbine failure. Looks like Delta Force did not get caught, but the Blackhawks did as the Wayside comes in. These Delta Force actually have to be tucked away into a building very fast. And here he goes, tucking them into a building. This will make them pay much better. And now they are secured. The Blackhawk will in fact go down, causing more point differentiation here. And here comes the second command armor from Yuejin. He opted to delay his second command armor so he can get the extra forces to secure middle and deploy that extra command armor after. Keep in mind, there's still 35 minutes left in the game, so anything can happen. We have a little bit of a recon attacking an anti-aircraft gun, oddly, and he should be able to see this. Looks like he doesn't. In fact, he's going to mortar that location down, and mortar should actually be more than enough to actually wipe out this recon, which will lose a position for Rattusxrattus. He's going to have to turn off the guns on this recon just to make it useful, and he can deploy them near the end of the match. Now there's a few things that Rattusxrattus can do right now. One thing would be to get a third command, and bomb, here it is. And yes, deploy it here at Echo. It's not really secure enough to deploy it at Juliet, and although this won't get him too big of a lead, it will give him a slight lead as far as forces go. He might even need to get a 4th command to really power up, and that's assuming that his opponent doesn't just push forward and go for a kill. I mean, it's one of these things where it's only 200 points, but that's still a fairly sizable lead, and the chasseurs from us being deployed on top of Fusiliers, artillery fire will be pound this location to help support it, and looks like the chasseurs from us will be doing a lot more damage, and definitely taking this forward middle location, which is very key for securing middle. And maybe possibly he's trying to make a big push forward so he can actually secure middle and gain a little bit of extra resource, but no. The power of AMX 32 tank prototypes have in fact turned the tide of this battle. Didn't even really use these mortars, which he does have, and looks like the command armor will be getting into position. Yuejin is making this decision based on the fact that he wants to really get ahead, and he doesn't really know this command armor's here, and he's going to know right now, and he's going to know that he's in trouble, and which he is. He's in trouble. He's going to need to secure middle, and he's going to have to move this Bravo command armor to the middle. If he can do that, he can get back in this game. But I mean, it's going to be slow, and it's going to be precise. And right now we're in the mid game, and in this mid game we actually see that Yuejin is moving up all of his forces and denying Juliet from being taken. It's going to take a lot of skirmishing to really gather this, and lots of these Spartan anti-infantry vehicles popping up. The VAB is going to run into anti-infantry, not particularly going to be the best trade. Fusiliers slowly creeping up, getting picked off by recon units, and here comes another recon attack, just light recon damage. Chasseurs from deployed on top of the Fusilier squad. Looks like the Fusiliers really get the win here. Chasseurs do pick up these BAVs, and we have the AMX support in the back, which will be a huge boon for this army. This is the only tank on the map right now, and it's winning all the battles just because how mobile it is and just at what long range you can fire. The total lack of 80 tank weapons will make this a nice potent tank for the win. The mortars, in fact, clear the chasseurs from us. The AMX 10Ps are panicked, and looks like they're going to go down as well. Here comes the tank destroyer, the Weasel 1 tow. It's one of these things where as soon as the tank squad shows up, it has to be deployed. And looks like Rattusxrattus really wants to get to this wood. If he can actually secure this woods, he can actually put a command armor here. He will have to worry about this flank across the river, and he will need to put some forces along the river bank, but otherwise he'd be pretty clear to move in a command armor. And yeah, got this gazelle hanging out. It's chilling. By the way, this is pretty well dead. It's routed right now, and it's only got like 2 hit points on one, 4 on the other. And oh, here comes more tanks. And Abrams, like J.J. Abrams, the guy who made that movie, Super 8. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. I'm sure that's what you were all thinking about. Pounding on this Schrappen now, which is now worried and could get knocked out. Pretty sure he doesn't know that's there. Yeah, he knows there's something there. More martyr VTSIs moving on the map. Looks like as Eugen goes for heavy tank presence, Rattusxrattus is countering with heavy anti-tank presence. And Fusilier is running across the field, being pegged off by some recons, and not quite able to make the journey, wanting to just collapse the remainder of these infantry vehicles, and just not able to do it. Speaking of Weasel running out of fuel and being out in the open, that's what's about to happen as the martyr VTSIs unloading gonna decimate these Weasels. There's in fact a Weasel MK20 here as well, and this Weasel doesn't really have much of a chance. And Abrams coming up on the side. Martyr VTSI. Oh, and we have some mortar fire also coming in, so this could actually end up being quite successful for Eugen, who's coming from 2 very long flanks. He wipes out one group in this group. The tanks are still unloading. We have some infantry powering forward, 8 infantry wanting to desperately take this forward position. Mortar fire has actually just completely burnt these woods. Nothing really left there to destroy though. And now the chasseurs are being dropped on top of the Fusiliers. They need to get in the woods first before they get dropped. There's still a Delta Force in here, which is a recon unit, so it provides vision for the Fusiliers. And there's just a lot of tanks here and anti-infantry heals counting on this location. Mortars not being effective right now. Chasseurs might get a Delta Force. Delta Force, of course, is a very expensive unit. He pulls it back wisely, realizing that he cannot lose this unit. It's too valuable. Rattusxrattus actually just falling further and further behind. And actually, all these chasseurs are going to die to these Fusiliers, and that is not good. Another group of chasseurs also going to fall apart. It's getting pretty desperate for Rattusxrattus. Eugen is just playing too well, and unfortunately has tanks, and there's anti-tank weapons here, but they're just not being used effectively. So very good play, and he's actually using these Chinook helicopters as a way of getting these FOB to all these units fast. And this usually favored the Chinooks when you're in this random scenario where I need a lot of supply very fast, and trucks are slow as all hell. It's also very helpful for getting to awkward spots, like there's not really an awkward, like right here. This would be an awkward spot. Have them get all the way over here. That would be pretty awkward. And there's a Delta Force in the woods here. It has all its weapons on, but it doesn't seem to be firing. Does it even see stuff? Is it? It's not even a good position actually. It needs to be just a little bit closer, like maybe right here. And it can actually do quite a bit of damage. Delta Forces are quite good. They do have the concussive grenade, so they're going to do some morale damage as well, and just completely screw things up for people. Unfortunately, of course, there's not really enough there, so that's a unit that's not really planned properly. It doesn't do anything. It's not providing recon information, and it's not providing any damage. If it turned off all its weapons and moved up, it would actually be very viable, and it would tell the entire loadout of Eugen, but right now it's just not really doing anything, and it is an expensive investment. Delta Forces are like, what, 50? 50 or 60? Correct me, game. 30, but then you have the airplane cost, that's like, that'll bring it to 50 and 60. So they are quite expensive, and so far it's not really a worthwhile investment, is all I'm trying to say. If anything, if I was to say anything. Speaking of multiple VABs and Fusiliers running across infantry, just trying to back the Fusiliers leveling up. And he's just going to run straight down the center, right down Rocket Alley as the tanks are pulling back wisely, realizing they're going to have to kite these infantry away. There's Marker BTSI, of course, coming in, and tanks have to clear them. One tank goes down, still 400 points to make up. This AMX 32, if it dies, could make a big difference. Marker VTSI winding up, could get another kill. This is a sniper Marker VTSI. There's still these Fusiliers in the woods, which are just causing lots of trouble, and the Marker VTSI actually kills infantry. And they're still, if they push up a little bit further, no, rotate, no. But I was gonna say, if you push up a little more, you could have grabbed these supply trucks, which would have been a killer snag. Mostly because of how unsupplied Eugen's army is right now, and looks like all this will in fact get cleaned up. The chasseurs are in a little bit of trouble right now, mostly because they're dead. And yeah, it goes back to business as usual. And you can kind of see on the map, this little bush here is kind of important, because if you want to take middle, you're going to need to maintain a foothold into the enemy's base and make it harder for him to mobilize there. Whereas this place here is also important because it gives a vantage point to shoot rockets across the field. So it's two different places where you can deploy vehicles, and that gives infantry a minor use in the level. Just not really to the extent that everyone's using them. I mean, to me, these tanks have actually been more valuable than all of these. And speaking of pushing forward and taking another forward position, we do see Yuejin is actually going to move forward, finally wipe up this group of Yagers, and going to take this forward wooded location. And he's moving on India, slowly creeping forward, getting all the wins. And there's a blip on the map, but I just don't see what it does. We have some desperation infantry coming out. This is when you're really screwed and you don't really have much, so you throw out infantry in hopes that the infantry will get some lucky grenades and lucky rockets. And we can already see that there's lots of infantry coming out for Yuejin as he's going to continue pushing forward, and as these units arrive, he'll continue to do this massacre. The supply helicopter coming to refuel up the Y sail, so we can continue on. And here we go, the Delta Force finally coming into use. Wasn't able to get a Cobra, but the Fusiliers are actually dropped accidentally on top here, and the Delta Force is figured out, and it looks like it will go down. And that was an expensive little investment that didn't cost too much, but now he knows what's coming. Unfortunately, he's already spent a lot of his money. He's bringing in a Gazelle Recon for some reason. That's not really what he needs right now. You could probably bring these Gazelles, they'd be helpful. But yeah, here we go. One infantry moves up. One infantry is dropped. And you see another Yager on top. It's Yager versus Yager. In Yager versus Yager, the more Yagers is the winner. And on this, it is Rattusxrattus. Will cut off the Yager, will stop this position from being taken. However, the point difference is so big that it feels as if Yuejin is just like, yep, I'm just going to push all my cards in, I'm just going to win every time. And that's what he's going for. It's a little more respectable play style than what most people do. Most people like to play very strategically and go for like the min-max win, in which they just completely dominate. But this is, you know, a 500 point difference. He's going to go for a pretty good one. And Yager is able to actually catch off quite a bit here. Might be able to catch a second Spartan, another group of Fusiliers. This could be fairly game-changing, actually. Just some very well-placed Yagers picking up these Fusiliers, and actually it's only 400 points now. That was a 100-point difference built up right there. And here comes the big push. The command armor should be pulled back by now. We have mortars pounding on location, making it very hard for these infantry to reinforce. And infantry in a situation where there's so many mortars is not really going to be a good choice. The chasseurs, the AMX 10Ps winding up. We shall pull back out of line of sight. Infantry moving into these woods, which are on fire from the mortar damage, and we can see some rockets here, some multi-rocket launcher vehicle being used against the Yagers and M113 GAIs. And the Yagers are going to take a TPC focus, and it looks like they might catch the second one too. Fusilier squad actually just gonna run and go like, sup, I'm gonna kill these group of Jaegers. No worries. Just doing my thing. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. And yeah, now India is pretty well should be vacated a long time ago. A small Fusilier squad doing a little bit of damage to these reinforcing vehicles from our red player Rattusxrattus, who looks like he's going to try and jump on top of these tanks. Tanks are being pulled back, micro back is the correct terminology. As the infantry get closer, the infantry are on the move fast command, so they will be able to catch up to these tanks, and they might just drop on top. Here we go. He's got to drop them at the right time. Here he goes. He drops them, and they're winding up. They might get a shot, and oh my god, too many misses, and the Abrams gets away, and kiting is over. No, there's more TPC hooks coming. There's another Abrams right here, microing back each one individually to a different direction, just so we can get away from these infantry. Right now we need to see some flamethrowers and mortar fire to help cover the retreats of these tanks, and he's getting very, very close with this TPC poops. He's just running straight down the line. This may have created an opening for Rattusxrattus to actually make a pretty stunning comeback. He's taking position in the woods here. He's firing on the Abrams. He's able to do insane damage. The next round of attacks should kill this. There are lots of supply vehicles here, but it looks like the TPC poops might be able to snag them all. We see more infantry powering forward. If they take these supply vehicles, that would be huge. He loses all of them on from that group before, and the TPC Fuchs is stuck in the open, not able to do anything. The Jaegers are running across the field. I'm pretty sure that Yuejin, when he planned his attack, did not think that his enemy would just counterattack like crazy. This is the madness. This is the madness of the Wargame Cup. Anything can happen. You can't really just peg these players to do one thing or another. And it looks like these Jaegers will get stunned from mortar fire. All of the supply vehicles are finally getting pulled back. One HEMTT Hemet has been taken, and the Jaegers are going to move in to try and get reinforced from that Hemet. The chasseurs in the middle are completely screwed, or as Hombres would say, they're Cabo. And looks like there's going to be lots of tanks here from the side, doing a nice little bit of opening fire, clearing up everything that is here. There's even a recon firing, which is kind of embarrassing. And unfortunately, this last minute smash from Rattusxrattus has actually just created a larger divide. It is now an 800 point difference, and it's just not something you can come back from. And in fact, this position is still taken, and here he comes. After dealing with that push, he's going to go ahead and move ahead. He's got some anti-infantry vehicles and some Jaegers, and oh god, I got to sneeze, pause. Oh, those are some big sneezes. Here he goes, infantry moving forward. We see some infantry being rallied here for Rattusxrattus. One group of Steelers will die. Another, looks like this armored vehicle will in fact go down, not able to do any damage, and the Saracens actually get dumped right on the Jaegers and going to die as well. So there's still a position here for Eugen, it's just not as large as just originally planned, and he's gonna pull. No, he's actually he's pulling the commander back. The commander does have a gun, and it's just taking too much mortar fire. And in fact, all these units here will actually get crushed by mortar fire. Commander, we're getting pulled back just in time. There's not really much of a point at the moment because it's a 900 point difference, but we'll continue ahead. We'll power ahead. The India location has been swiped by Eugen. Now, if you want to embarrass the person who's doing this to you, they're just not resigning, you should start making a lot of command numbers and taking a lot of locations. Just to kind of say, like, yep, I got all the locations on the map. What of it? So we see a lot of vehicles popping out. Some Martyr VTSIs. Not a bad choice considering how many tanks and support vehicles are on the map. And it's going to be another round of small creeping here for Eugen. A multi-layer rocket has hit this central location here, but didn't really hit anything. It's not really close enough to really do a lot of damage. Fusiliers running to the chasseurs. Chasseurs will get the upper hand. It looks like they won't back completely. And whoa, Waysell just came and sniped something crazy good. And I'm pretty sure that at this point in the game, Rattusxrattus is just putting his head on the table and thinking like, what can I do? What can I do to win this? And there's nothing. There's really nothing he can do right now. He's just too in it. And lots of tanks, infantry, helicopters, Fusiliers versus Fusiliers. Everyone loves this battle. You can see crazy engineers against crazy engineers. Combat engineers, of course. And Martyr VTSI clean up some of the Spartan. Nope, the Spartan actually is able to do damage to it. The tow, however, will make the difference, and the Crusaders are slowly going to inch their way up. We see a giant gambit of helicopters, which of course is the right move. If you're so far behind, the best move is to all in with one type that your enemy will be less likely to counter, and he's actually going to go for that. He's actually going to go for a giant helicopter all in, which is so smart at this point. The commands are getting pulled back, or pulled forward, it looks. Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this going to happen? Is this actually going to be the end of the game? Oh my god. You got one commander. Oh my god. You can go for the second one now. With relative ease, there's actually not much anti-aircraft weaponry here. There's a lot of trouble here for Eugen. Oh my god. The commander is going to go down. And wow. Oh my god. Rattusxrattus. Oh my. Oh, okay. Oh, that's brilliant. So Eugen is winning the entire time and is overwhelmingly stomping in Rattusxrattus. He's 200 ELO 200 higher. He's just overwhelmingly outplaying Rattusxrattus at every corner. And Rattusxrattus is using cheap infantry to try and defend whatever he can. And then last minute he deploys 20 helicopters and attacks Eugen when his army is stretched out and he has no anti-aircraft. Oh my god. I'm sure Eugen is just sitting there raging, stomping on his keyboard, angrily beating it up. This has been beautiful. Thank you guys for watching the Wargame Cup. My name has been Troublemaker, and this has been one of the more interesting games. I have one more game. Hopefully it's not crazy like this.